So everyone that's on our website right now, Mark, what would be the best like way that you would describe what Drop Service Academy is and the opportunity that they have presented for themselves?
So Drop Service Academy was started about a year ago, and basically what we do is we help people get into entrepreneurship. So we help people get into home service businesses, whether that's, hey, you've never ran a business before, or hey, you've done something maybe like drop shipping or SMMA and like never really saw the success. Drop Service Academy allows you to go into a industry that's been around for centuries and is well known, but kind of break through with modern marketing strategies. I mean, what we do is like, hey, we help you from the foundational aspects to the hiring process, to the sales process, to the marketing process. Every step of the way, we're here to aid you in creating your first or second successful business.
And I think it's also worth mentioning that in Drop Service Academy and in the industry of drop servicing, it really is a complementary part of your life in terms of you can kind of choose what that role looks like. You know, we have students, we have people that are doing this full time. This is their main thing. They do this 40, 50, 60 hours a week because they love it and they're really just focused on scaling and growth. We have students that run these businesses as like an afterthought. And you know, they have very demanding W-2 jobs or personal lives, and they're still able to run businesses that generate them cash flow and build enterprise value without needing it to be the main thing. So whether this is just adding one more cash flowing business to your portfolio, or whether this is going to be your main thing and you're looking for a new career and a new opportunity to build something, this really fits nicely into any lifestyle as long as you have 10, 15 hours a week and a few $1,000s to get everything started. I mean, that's really it.
Yeah, so the inception of Drop Service Academy was October of 2023, and it started off where the majority of the people that were coming into the academy and starting their home service business, it seemed like it was a business that they've never started before, or maybe they never started business in general. And as we've matured and evolved kind of with DSA, we've kind of seen like a lot more different kinds of demographic of people coming in. I know that we just recently had a few people that are coming into DSA where it's like they have either already a business or a book of business of some sort where they want to basically kind of diversify their current situation. And then we've seen a lot more of these people where it's like they're already working that job and they want to come and start something that could supplement that income that they're currently making and then be able to transfer out of the workforce, rather than like in the beginning we saw more so a lot of younger people that were kind of joining Drop Service Academy where maybe they didn't want to go to college and get a 9-to-5 job after they graduated, so they saw this as an escape route for basically avoiding the corporate America route. But we've seen a lot more older people kind of come into DSA recently.
Totally agree. I think that it also is like, one, it's an opportunity vehicle to like, hey, get cash flow or like, and just reoccurring cash flow month over month. But also build skills, right? Like there's a lot of people that it's like, hey, with your W-2 or like your previous like business that you used to run, like you were super reliant and like good at marketing, but you never knew how to really like talk to people on the phones. You never knew how to like pioneer, like maneuver conversations effectively. And that's what we teach you. We'll give you like all the skills from hiring, operating, marketing, sales, and those skills can be transferable to any business down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also not only should we think about the opportunity vehicle from the standpoint of building and scaling a business, or just from the standpoint of building skills, but also relationally, I think we offer a unique value within Drop Service Academy for the community aspect and the just intrinsic value of putting 200 people trying to accomplish the same goal all in the same room. You know, virtually we all share ideas, we all are able to, you know, process problems and come to solutions together, give feedback, provide support, all trying to achieve the same thing. And many of us even in the same market, but because the industry is so early in its life cycle, we're not even really worried about or dealing with any saturation. So I think there's a lot of unique opportunity that exists, not just in drop servicing as a whole, but in Drop Service Academy specifically because of the way that the program and the mentorship is structured to foster community and skill building, not just, okay, let's just cash flow. That's the only thing we're worried about.
if you want, talk a little bit more about like the not only like the network but also like the culture. And in regards to the network too, you were saying like how like some people are in similar markets or they overlap. We had a prime example with you with was it Antonio?
Yeah.
Where you guys are in the same market. And you guys even share a book of businesses if for whatever reason any of your contractors or any of his contractors couldn't fulfill that job, you guys kind of like help each other out. So like with that plus like the culture aspect of just like everyone like in the same community with the same goal, like how important is that for like someone's success?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you didn't already know, as a viewer, many of you may know, but I actually came through Drop Service Academy originally as a student first. So I got to experience Drop Service Academy really in its early days. I was probably the 30th, 35th member, something of that, of that range. It wasn't even called Drop Service Academy at the time. And while the educational content was largely very similar, it was extremely different from a community perspective because there were so few people in there. And we were kind of all figuring it out together. Everyone was very new. Where now that I'm on the ownership side and I've been running my business for almost a year and have seen a lot of success, I think it speaks even more volumes to the depth of the community in the experience level, in the vastness of the region that we cover, and like you said, in leveraging the network. I mean, I have brought cleans for people, I think 5 or 6 different people. I mean, whether I brought cleans for you guys in Florida, I brought you guys a cleaner that you ended up hiring. I brought cleaners to businesses in Michigan. I've brought customers to businesses in Chicago, in Texas. There's the network aspect of it, aside from just the collective intelligence, but also actually the truly like the nature of transferring or handing off customers and handing off cleaners, or being able to use each other as references for pricing. Yeah. Like you mentioned with Antonio, I don't really have a great Sunday team. Like, most of my cleaners are very good. They're not really keen on working Sundays. We normally keep our Sundays empty. On the occasion that I get a booking that has to be done on Sunday, I give Antonio a call up. His team will go in and handle it. I don't have to go hire a cleaner that's gonna get 1 clean a month only on Sunday. I can give him that business. He can make, $25 for every 100. I can make 25. Like we can share in the wealth of it rather than it just being, me either turning the business away or hiring a cleaner that's not gonna get sufficient work. And that helps him. He would think, well, shoot, I don't want to go into a market that Parker's working in. His business is doing so well. It's going to hinder me. I'm not going to be able to grow. My business being there does not take away from him. It adds to him. I bring him additional work. And that's the nature of the relationships we have here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that like a lot of people have that like misconception where it's like, oh, like one person is in my market, like that means like they're gonna take like my customers. Like that was my first impression when I met John, because we were both running cleaning businesses down in Miami. And then you shortly realize there are any market more or less, there are thousands of Airbnbs that are constantly getting turned over week over week. Every single market has construction, right? Post-construction cleanups. Every single market has gyms, offices, warehouses, barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, like you name it. The list goes on and on. And then you obviously have like your mama and pops. You just get weekly, bi-weekly, monthly house cleans. So like there's endless opportunity out there. And as long as you just put like basic marketing strategies into your business, you can gain some of that market share.
Yeah. Now I want to actually talk quickly for the viewers, giving a little context on our backgrounds and where we came from, because we all have kind of similar but still different backgrounds in terms of educationally, and then transitioning into the workforce, then transitioning into entrepreneurship. So I know Mark, you went to college, graduated, went into a sales role, and eventually you just realized like wasn't for you, transitioned into entrepreneurship. John, you kind of always wanted to go into entrepreneurship, but still went through college. You never went into the traditional workforce. Yeah.
So my background is simply went to high school, played sports my entire life, went to college, went to a finance school, went to a business school, thought that I was going to be some sort of a financial advisor, like in that realm, like maybe wealth management, maybe investment banking. I was doing like a lot of research on like the different industries. But then eventually I came to the realization I didn't want to do that. And at that point, I was kind of just like doing what you were doing, just like throwing stuff at a wall, seeing what sticks, starting businesses online, networking with people, consulting, like doing kind of like freelancing work, kind of, but like not officially like freelancing work, to the point where it's like now I'm graduated from college. All my friends have jobs lined up, and then I just don't have a job lined up because I was under the understanding that I wasn't going to get a 9 to 5 and I was just going to figure it out. And that's how I eventually came and found like the business model for remote cleaning. And sure enough, it was the same way how you found it. Saw a video online and then did some research and then decided to take action. Like it was as simple as that. Like, I don't know if you guys are similar with me and Parker, but we saw this opportunity, did a little bit of research on it, hopped on a couple calls with people that have done this before and that had success with it. And then we took the leap of faith to give it a shot ourselves, and then we saw results. Like, it was just as simple as that. And that's how I met Mark in March of 2023. Like, a few months after that, he already had his business for 4 months at that point because you left Trava. In January or December.
Yeah, it was the first week of January. I mean, me personally, like, I went to school, graduated school. I was like, cool, let's get into sales. I mean, we're in Chicago right now. I joined a company headquartered out of Chicago here. If it wasn't COVID, I was gonna have to like move out to Chicago.
Oh, really?
But I was fully remote the whole time. Made a bunch of money, and then it was Grubhub. So I was like flying around the country, getting restaurants, signed up on the platform. Realized that like, hey, Grubhub had no delivery drivers. Like, they're middlemanning the delivery. I ended up leaving Grubhub, going to a startup called Trava, and that was cool. It was a great experience. Was there for like 4 or 5 months, and they were middlemanning the whole like staffing industry. And I just realized all these new businesses are just popping up, middleman. And so I was like, come from a family full of like entrepreneurs, like I always like had the dreams to be like my own boss. And I was like, hey, now's the time, have enough like money saved up, like let's just take the leap, let's get after it. Took the leap, quit first week of January. I'm like, hey, 2023 is gonna be the year. That's gonna be the year like I change everything. And started up the cleaning business, and then met John a couple months after that, and basically just been working together for the past 18 months now.
Yeah, I mean, my background was very similar up to the midway point in college. Went to school, was actually in school on a medical track, studying biomedical engineering, and had an opportunity to pursue a lifelong dream of playing professional soccer. Decided to take the leap of faith, dropped out of school, ended up earning my first professional contract, playing professionally for a brief stint, realized it really wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Ended up leaving soccer behind pretty shortly thereafter, and then was left in a situation where I had a lot of skills. I was, from my own viewpoint, very intelligent, did well in school always, was on a really good track, had this professional playing history, and I got done with playing, and I was kind of looking around going, do I start a business? Do I get a job? Do I, and I threw out some testers to see what does the job market look like for someone like me. I know I have skills, but I don't have a degree, and I don't have the pedigree that a lot of jobs are looking for, and really quickly realized that the job market for me, I was gonna have to go very, very, very entry level. Like, that like no college, like barely got a GED type of entry level. And I was just not keen on putting myself in a position to make, $30K a year for the next 5 years to try to earn my keep and get a better role. I knew that from the little bit of entrepreneurial work I had done throughout college and even at the end of high school, that there was much more opportunity to be had doing something on my own. Similar to you, John, kind of bounce around, threw shit at the wall, see what was gonna stick, and eventually came across a piece of your content where we had worked together briefly in the past, and I knew who you were and felt confident at least that what you were saying, had some truth in it, because a lot of info products, a lot of people online, they don't. And I was like, I don't know John that well, but I know that he's not going to be talking complete nonsense. So, reached out. Yeah.
Hey, like, what's going on, man?
Exactly. It was just like I'm curious to learn more. Like, you look like you're doing well. I don't know anything about what you're talking about. Never heard of the industry. Had no experience in any type of home services or really any service business at all. And ended up taking the leap of faith.
This is a good transition to. I want you to answer the question. You are yourself in end of October, November of 2022, going into 2023 or 2024 at that point. What skills, or what credentials, if any, do you need? And then what skills do you also need to be successful with the business model, which is starting a home service business, specifically what you did, the remote cleaning business through the DSA model?
Yeah, I always say to start any business, you have to have one or some combination of four things. You either have to have time, money, experience, or relationships, right? This is a business model where, in any business model, having a combination of those four things is always going to be advantageous for you. Now, some businesses are very capital heavy, some are very time heavy, some are, this kind of really, trotted a very medium line. You needed a medium amount of time. It wasn't completely hands off. You needed a medium amount of money. It wasn't like, oh, you start this for $5. You needed to invest a little bit into certain things. And then, if you had relationships, it would be advantageous. And if you had skills, it would be advantageous, but weren't really needs. The skills I felt like I had were a little bit of sales, a good bit of marketing, and then, I had a business brain. But in terms of hard skills or a pedigree, a checklist of things, it was more than anything just a willingness. I mean, it was really just, am I willing to commit the time? Am I willing to take the risk with the capital? And then am I willing to do the work that's necessary to scale to the level that I want to get to? Because at the end of the day, a successful business is going to be something very different for a lot of people. We have students who do 10K a month. That's exactly what they want. They want to stay there. They want to keep it low time commitment, make a little bit of money. We have students that want to grow to $1 million a year business. So they have a very different relationship to it. But in terms of like a requisite, there's really not much. It's more than anything a willingness and the ability to take on a little bit of risk for a potentially very, very large reward.
And then I have one more question for you. So let's just play devil advocate here. I'm a 45-year-old man that is doing very good for himself. And let's just say I have $50,000 and I don't know what to do with it. And maybe I want to start a business, and then someone introduces me to you and you kind of tell me a little bit about like what Drop Service Academy is. But I have all of these different things going on in my life where I don't have time to run this business. Is there any way that you could help me start and scale a home service business? And if so, how? And what would that look like? And then also, why would I want to work with you? Like, what is it specifically? Like, what is your expertise? What are your credentials for me to be able to trust that you could help me start a business without me even having to think about it?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. And it's actually something I can very recently say that with a large degree of confidence, it's absolutely something I can help you with. Within Drop Service Academy, it has always been our goal to be able to bring the drop servicing business model to anyone who has an interest in it. And whether that be someone that has no money and is in a very tight financial situation, giving them an opportunity to get a foot in the door. Obviously their trajectory, their roadmap is going to be very different. Or someone that maybe has a lot of money but very, very little time. We want to be able to help anyone. We are actually now offering a done for you, a business in a box, if you want to say that, where we are actually creating, building, scaling, handling, hiring, automating everything, businesses for these people that are well established. They're looking to add a cash flowing business. They're looking to get into the home service industry without having to do the work themselves, without having to teach themselves sales or marketing, teach themselves hiring, navigate an industry that's brand new to them. We've taken all the guesswork out of it and really made it so that all you have to worry about is reading reports, checking in on financials, making sure the business looks healthy, and we will handle all of the operations and everything that needs to be put in place for the business. And I'm very proud to say that our credentials go far beyond a piece of paper, go far beyond us just saying we can do it. Our credentials are in the $300,000 plus a month that our students generate, with us only being partially hands-on to them. Our credentials are in the $100,000 plus a month that is generated every month by just the three of us sitting at this table within this exact business model. Our credentials come from the 5 different states that businesses are owned and operated in at this table. And not just the ability to very effectively create these businesses, but the ability to very effectively manage and scale and operate them so that they are not a headache and that they're actually something that it's a joy to own them, because all you have to do is collect cash flow and you get to put money into a vehicle that will build you not just cash flow, but also enterprise value without you having to worry about it. So I think hopefully that answers your question. And really, in my opinion, I think there isn't a better vehicle to invest into than a business that can cash flow you. And if you want something hands off, there are very few places you can go. I always say that the most difficult part about any passive cash flow business is that it's not passive. And it's very easy to find places. People say, oh, vending machines, start a vending machine business. Shell out tens of thousands of dollars. Somebody still has to stock them. Somebody still has to collect the cash from them. Somebody still has to make sure they don't get broken into, things like that. Find the locations, place them, replace them when they go bad. I mean, there is no business that's completely hands off unless you find really high quality operators to actually do the work for you.
So you're telling me that to answer that question, kind of like to summarize, I could basically end of the year, like get on a call with you, have a conversation, kind of consultation of like what the situation would look like, write you a check, meet with you in Q1 of next year, and then we can essentially be seeing a business that is from the ground up, infrastructure getting built without me having to do anything, cleaners getting hired, ad platforms getting turned on, SOPs all in place for all the virtual assistants that are working for my business that's in my name, but I'm not doing any of this. Sales calls being answered, fulfillment being controlled, labor being overseen, and then I just get on a call with you once a month and you just tell me what's going on. That's what I think that you're saying.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, at this point, I would say to conservatively estimate for you, with an upfront investment into building the infrastructure, getting the team hired, getting the actual business started and lifted off the ground, I feel very confident from our track record with over 150 businesses that we've had some hand in, and the half dozen businesses that we've personally run and scaled. In 6 months, you should be cash flow positive, and in 12 to 18 months, you should be profitable. So much so that in this situation, I would actually guarantee you that you'd be profitable within 18 months. And if not, I'd give you your money back that you invested.
Okay.
So that's the confidence level that we have in not just the model, but our ability to operate.